Well, last topic of the day. This is crazy, right? I'm gonna come to you first, Elliot, real quick. And it is all over the thumbnail. It is at the very beginning of the title of this video. This news dropped last Thursday like wildfire, and we kept getting updates and updates and exclusives day after day, and it's just crazy. I got the report right here from the Wall Street Journal. It says Scarlett Johansson sues Disney over Black Widow's streaming release. And since I don't have a subscription to Wall Street Journal, we're going to go over here to Variety where we can actually read it. And it says, yes, she's suing Disney over the contract breach of her film. Disney's decision to release Black Widow on Disney Plus at the same time it hit theaters has sparked a legal battle with Scarlett Johansson, the actress tasked with playing the Marvel superhero. And guys, just to let you know, if you're watching this via live or in the replay, there's a link down to this article in the description box for you to read at your own leisure. In a lawsuit filed Thursday in Los Angeles Superior Court, attorneys for my goodness gracious, Johansson alleged that the Star contract was breached when the studio opted not to debut the film exclusively in theaters, a move that claimed depressed ticket sales for Avengers spinoff. Much of Johansson's compensation was tied to the box office performance of Black Widow. If it hit certain benchmarks, bonuses would kick in. And again, Elliot, I'm coming to you first, and I have that report, not the report, but the quote right here. Disney intentionally induced Marvel's breach of the agreement without justification in order to prevent Miss Johansson from realizing the full benefit of her bargain with Marvel, the suit reads. I just want to let y'all know this topic is so big. I have multiple articles for this one topic, and everybody is going to get to talk multiple times if they want to. But so far, and also I want to read this one too. Disney chose to placate to Wall Street investors and pay this bottom line rather than allow its subsidiary Marvel to comply with the agreement, the suit reads. To no one's surprise, Disney's breach of the agreement successfully pulled millions of fans away from the theaters and towards Disney Plus streaming service. Elliot, how are you feeling about this big old mess that's been boss hogging the internet airstreams for the past few days?
Man, where to start, man? Does it start with the lack of faith that Disney had in Black Widow? Does it start with this? Why wasn't the negotiations rehashed when they came up with this idea? Does it start with Scarlett Johansson and her relationship with Disney moving forward? Because she's supposed to get announced like 2 weeks ago that she's going to be producing and starring in a Disney project. What was the Tower of Terror? So it's just like, is that blood? You know, is that distracting? It's so much to look into, man. And as far as like size sake, I totally agree. You know, as far as where Scarlett's coming from, if you breached the contract, you breached your contract, even though she made the 20 mil. But if it was, to be honest with you, though, I mean, financially speaking, I don't know what they would have done with this film because they didn't do the numbers that they were expecting anyway. So I don't know if she would even got the big check after. I mean, yes, with Disney Plus, it made $60 million or whatever, but I don't know if it would have made her the money that she was maybe looking for with incentives. But nonetheless, Disney. This to me just really makes me nervous for the future of the MCU with my man, what's his name?
Bob Chapek.
Bob Chapek.
Yeah.
Man, this is interesting, man. I think this is one of many things that might, in the next few years, we might start to see some cracks in the hole of the MCU, and this is one of them. This is crazy, man. And then all the stuff, the snowball effect with some other actors that are coming out with Emma Stone and Emily Blunt and all that stuff. And I read an article this morning that The Rock might not pursue this. It's just really, really interesting to see how this plays out, which I think this is the end of Premiere Plus for the foreseeable future. But again, I'm totally on Scarlett's side about getting that bag. And if they breach the contract, then definitely, she should take legal actions to do so. But she's going against the mouse, so we'll see how this turns out, man. But this is, like I said, there's so much to break down and all this. But my initial thoughts is, she has every right to ask for the money she deserves, even though I don't think she would have gotten the money because the film wasn't financially successful. But
right on. And there you go, Sharronda. Everybody loving you in the chat right now, except for those a couple of idiots. And so I'm gonna let you know that. So
Sharronda always gets love up in here.
Yeah, Sharronda all the love. They be like, B, why don't you bring Sharronda back? I'll be like, she busy.
Like, but don't come.
Huh?
I'd be like, this is why Sharronda does not come.
I feel you. JR,
get rid of the incels.
Thank you so much for the super chat for $2.22. She asked to speak to the manager of Disney. Yes, I agree. She did. I'm not mad at her. Now, I want to go ahead and say this before I come to you, Larry. I am full-heartedly believe that this is the absolute end. The head is chopped off. There will be no more Disney Plus premiere packages for $30. That ship has sailed, blown up, sunk to the bottom of the ocean. Larry, it is done. I am being petty. I am rubbing it in your face, sir. All in your face, because we be going back and forth because it doesn't work. It doesn't work, and this is proof. Look at this, Larry. Look at this. I'm rubbing it in. This is shit. 343. That is horrible. I got a bunch of articles, but look, man, or anybody just in general, this movie it was easily pirated. It was the most like pirated movie ever. It was pirated more than the Tomorrowland, and it is so easy to do it. You buy the premiere movie. I have an OBS program right now. All I got to do is hit play and hit record on my OBS. I'm screen
Brandon giving out tips tonight, huh?
I mean, it's so easy to do it. It takes 5 minutes. It takes 5 minutes to record it. You have this crisp, clear HD copy of the movie. Ain't nobody finna pay for that, so it doesn't work. The only way this premiere thing will work, and I want y'all's opinion on this, is if they watermark it. Like when you because you know if you know, if we get sometime when we get screeners, they watermark our copies so we don't leak the movie out or whatever. And so if you do have a Disney Plus subscription and then you pay for a film premiere access, it has your email, you know, not your credit card, but it just has your information somewhere watermarked on the thing so you can't copyright it. But I mean, look, I mean, I don't see how anybody can argue with this right here. The movie was pirated the F out of, and this is the result of it. And so I just don't see how the premiere thing can work anymore. I'm happy about this because I want the blockbusters to go to the theaters. Bob Chapek is an idiot in my opinion, because I understand we had a pandemic, and so we need more content to go. I mean, you know what I'm trying to say. We need content to go to the Disney Plus. So they did that. He produced more shows with Armor Wars, with the Guardians of the Galaxy Groot thing, the Hawkeye show, She-Hulk, the Ironheart, you know, Moon Knight, you know, that he was giving them shows to put on Disney Plus, but no, he wants to be a dum-dum and go ahead and do the dual hybrid release, and this is what happened right here. And so we're gonna talk about Kevin Feige too. Oh, but before I come to you, Larry, on that, let me go ahead and go to the second article on this, because that's what happened with Black Widow. She's suing Disney, but Disney is clapping back. This is from Variety as well. Yeah, and the article is down in the description. Disney fires back as Scarlett Johansson calls Black Widow lawsuit sad and distressing. And what do they have to say? The Walt Disney Company clapped back. They actually put clap back in the article. And Black Widow star Scarlett Johansson slamming the actress' breach of contract lawsuit for showing callous disregard for the horrific and prolonged global effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. That's crap, man. A salary is a salary. But yeah, there is no merit whatsoever to this filing, Disney said, an unusually fiery statement. The lawsuit is especially sad and distressing, like I just said. Larry, the floor is yours, man. How you feeling about all this?
First of all, I just want to say that if she honestly believes that Disney did this without first running this through a whole team of lawyers to make sure that they could do this legally without getting themselves in any trouble, she is just fooling herself and probably costing herself a crap ton of money in legal fees. I am almost willing to bet money on the fact that Disney's going to come out of this and say, there is no breach of contract. We have it right here that we can do this. And
she tried to renegotiate her contract, though. Before all of this happened, they met and she tried to renegotiate and they would not do anything.
So it sounds to me like they already knew they had the ability to do it. She was unhappy that she couldn't get it renegotiated, so she tried to sue now. But here's the problem, and I said this before. You're not going to find much sympathy out there for a young, pretty chick that was paid $20 million. most of the people out there that are starving, hungry, they literally just yesterday got rid of the eviction moratorium. And you think that the public sentiment is going to be, oh, we feel so sorry for this young, pretty white lady that just got paid $20 million and now she wants $20 million more. People aren't going to feel that. They're going to be like, we don't care. In fact, they shouldn't even have given this on premiere. They should have given it to us on regular Disney Plus. That's how people are going to feel about it. Now, here's how I do feel. If you're contractually obligated to get something, you should get it. I just think Disney, I just truly believe that Disney was smart enough to make sure that they can release this in the way that they did without any legal ramifications on their part. They may have to go. I would not be at all surprised if she's pissed off that she ends up paying Disney's legal fees, because she might end up going out there and realizing that she didn't spend $2-3 million in legal fees and nothing's going to come of it. What I don't understand is why she just did why they can't sit down in a room and her with Disney executives and say, look, I'm unhappy with this. You know exactly why. Disney can say,
I'm about to say,
hold on.
She did.
I know, but hold on. And they can just simply say, look, we know we're not going to renegotiate this contract, but how about this? We know that your character's killed off. How about we give you this movie? We were going to pay you $10 million for this one, $10 million for that one. We'll just make it 15 on this one, 15 on that one. That'll be an extra 10. It'll make up the difference of what you lost on Black Widow anyways. And call it a day. Just let it go in the wash. And that way everybody stays looking clean and glowing and shining on the public face. But right now, I think the way it is, I think no one's looking good. Disney's looking like the big corporate monster. She's looking like the greedy rich chick that wants people to go into the theater.
For wanting what she's worth?
That's what I'm saying.
For wanting people to go in, because basically what she's saying is, when I heard this story, I was looking at her like the same way I looked at Christopher Nolan when he was like, I want my movies in the theater. I don't care. I was like, man, fuck y'all. I was like, if it wasn't for premiere, sir, I wouldn't even have seen that damn movie. I was like, because there was no way in Sam Hillbilly hell I was going to the movie theater to see no damn Black Widow or any other movie.
So Larry, I'm sorry. So you're saying that she should not get the salary that she earned and deserved and signed up for because she's attractive?
No,
she's successful?
No, that is not what I'm. See, I'm
asking though.
No,
I mean, this whole thing has been sexist from the beginning, but keep going.
I'm not saying that she shouldn't get her money because she's attractive. What I'm saying is that there is a public sentiment that goes along with this, and a lot of people out in the public are going to say, this is ridiculous. I don't care that some pretty young chick that's already getting paid $20 million wants more. Why should I care about this? Why do you think Disney releases stuff out into the public sphere? Because they want to win the battle in the court of the public opinion, because they know here's this young chick who's rich, who's already been paid $20 million, and people are going to say, you got paid $20 million and you want me to go pay $17 to go to the movies in the middle of a pandemic? There, people are going to be like, man, F that B. That's the way people are going to think, and that's why Disney released it. And I would have not have gone to see this movie no matter what. I don't care if they released Black Panther forever. At the same time they had released Black Widow, I was not going to the movie theater to see anything. And a lot of people feel that way.
With respect, my brother, I wholeheartedly disagree. Your salary is your salary is your salary.
Look how many people watched it on premiere because they didn't want to go to the theaters, but they were willing to pay for it.
Nobody paid for it on premiere, my brother.
They made 60 mil on premiere.
Worldwide, sir.
60 in the theater, 60 in premiere, 80 in the theaters. They were only 20 off. You know what that tells me?
That's not a lot of bread.
You know what that says? That says that all they need to do is tweak the business model for premiere, and they have a success on their hands.
Bro,
they probably would have made 80 and 80 if they dropped the price to $20.
Larry, it seemed like you kind of just making stuff up as you go. What do you mean tweak the business model? Like tweak it to what? That you can't do it, Larry. Sharronda, what's the safety? How much do you know how much the budget for safety was, the Disney thing that was released last year with Jamie Foxx's daughter? Let me look that up real quick.
I don't know. I just want to have my turn to defend myself.
Go ahead. Defend yourself while I look it up.
Do you feel like I attacked you, Sharronda?
I I don't even look right now with this Will telling me get out of my feelings. Let's just talk facts, okay? Let's just talk facts.
Wait, someone who being disrespectful? Who I got to block?
It don't matter. No. Let them, because I need them to hear the truth, okay? So at the end of the day, Scarlett Johansson was Scarlett Johansson was the best talent that they had when they started the MCU.
Very true.
At the time when she joined the MCU, she had already been nominated for 2 BAFTAs, been nominated for 3 Golden Globes. She's a Tony Award winner as well. And the fact that y'all really sitting up here talking about because she already got paid, she's greedy.
I didn't say that.
I didn't say that either.
She was the highest level of talent that Marvel had when the MCU started, okay? Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, she's still making less than Robert Downey was making $40 million by the time that he left. And they got him at the end of his career. This helped revitalize his career as well. At the end of the day, the reason why she had to wait to file a suit after the movie premiered is because you cannot sue somebody for what they might do. You have to wait for them to actually commit the act in order to sue them. Mm-hmm. Also, too, she wasn't the first person upset about any of this stuff happening with movies having a dual streaming and theater release. Remember, when Warner Brothers announced that HBO Max titles were going to premiere on streaming the same day of release, people were ready to riot. That was the whole thing with Christopher Nolan, who had to fight to keep Tenet. They also paid Gal Gadot more money to put Wonder Woman 84 on streaming. She had to renegotiate her contract in order to get more money, because at the end of the day, these actors, yes, they get paid up front, but they still make a back end on the box office. She's also an executive producer of Black Widow as well, that has other implications as well for her in this whole thing.
Hold on, are you talking to us or somebody in the chat?
I'm talking to everybody.
Oh, because I'm on your side. I just want to let you know that.
No, but you have to break it down to help people really understand where the issue is in the first place. Right. So at the end of the day, the reason why this is such a big deal, and because they did breach the contract, because if you're blaming COVID on this, since you're saying you care about all the people talking about COVID, when your parks are currently open right now, putting people in danger, that is a problem. Why is Spider-Man going only to theaters? Spider-Man is not being released on Disney Premier Access. It is strictly only in theaters. So to say that she doesn't have a point is crazy to me, because then all of your other movies should be following the same suit. The reason why people are trying to down her at the end of the day, and y'all can yell at me, whatever, is because she's a woman. God forbid this woman who didn't need a Marvel movie. She was already at the peak of her career. How dare her, after getting $20 million, ask to get the money that she deserved in the first place? The reason why Disney tried to be petty and release her salary, which is something they shouldn't have done. It was a very petty thing for them to do, because if she wins this, and there is a high probability that she will win this, other people will be there to get their money. It doesn't matter that they're richer than us. It doesn't matter that we ain't got no money. At the end of the day, you get paid what you owe. And that's all it is. And if she wins, then they're going to be sued by other people. And we probably not going to be having the same conversation. Because I'm confused why it's such a big deal that Scarlett is asking for it, but other people are following suit now. She's just the first person to actually do it. But when this whole thing happened with HBO Max, everybody was pissed. People were ready to sue. She's just the only person that actually did it. So what's the problem? I guarantee you that Hollywood support her. And there's average people that support her. But the fact that we doing all of this, acting like this wasn't an issue before, and the fact that you have movies like Spider-Man that's going strictly to theaters, that's a problem. It's a huge problem.
Well, Larry, I'm gonna come to you anyway, Larry, because you got somebody to send you a super chat, and it addresses you. So I'm gonna come to you next. But I just have to respond to Sharronda. Yeah, I agree. It is a bunch of crap. Sharronda, I don't feel that Scarlett is being greedy at all. I mean, if her contract was breached, her contract was breached. Now I'm gonna steal a little page out of Eman's book, because he was saying in his breakdown that it just depends. I'm not a lawyer, and I haven't read the contract, and so that Disney could come back and be like, no, we did release it in theaters, but we also released it in Premiere. Our contract doesn't say theaters exclusively; it just says released in theaters. And so, if you're looking at it like that and crossing hairs, you know, Scarlett may not win. I want her to win. I am on Team ScarJo's side. It's just for clarification. But I don't think that Scarlett is being greedy at all. I mean, if just as simple, if it's a breach of contract, it's a breach of contract. And I think Disney did some hoe ass stuff by saying you're trying to play victim. Oh, you're being sensitive about the COVID global pandemic, and we've already paid you $20 million. That doesn't mean that a goddamn thing. I don't care if my salary is $85,000 a year, you know, and I only get paid 75. You know, I want my remaining 10,000. You know, don't be like, well, we paid you 75. No, give me what I earn, give me what I work for. Now, I don't want to know. I don't want to go as far as saying that, because I think one of the articles said that she could be potentially missing out on like $50 million on bonuses, which is crazy. I don't know if they're thinking that the Black Widow film would make $1 billion. It could. I'm not saying it's impossible. Going into before this, I was thinking that it'll at least make like 700-800 million. It may have made $1 billion as well, but I just have to say, I don't think she's being greedy at all. I'm on her side. And Larry, I'm gonna let you speak, and you can also respond to Lainey, who provided a super chat. Larry, you're sadly incorrect. Pandemic aside, if Disney decided to do the same day release, she should have been compensated through royalties or some other measure to offset the box office revenue. And also, Lainey said as well, she's not selfish, she's not greedy, she's a woman demanding what she's worth. And if a man did the same, he'd be called a brilliant businessman already. Well, and thank you so much, Lainey Womack, for the super chat. And Larry, if you have a response, or if you want, I think you had something to say anyway. Go ahead, my brother.
Yeah, I think that people are misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm not saying that she shouldn't be paid. What I'm talking about is when you have for all intents and purposes, Scarlett Johansson is a company, and you have Disney, who is also a company, and they are fighting it out in the public space. And when you have two people that are both ridiculously wealthy in a time of huge and massive income inequality, when people are literally getting evicted because of a eviction moratorium that just happened, and you have a global pandemic, people,
what does it matter?
Hold on, people don't care about whether or not some millionaire is going to get a few more millions of dollars. And that's why I'm saying that she is going to lose this battle in the court of public opinion. Now, I also said that I do not believe that Disney did this recklessly. I believe Disney did this because they sat down with the lawyers. They went line by line through this contract, and they said, yes, you have a legal right to release this day and date. And if you do, you might get sued, but you can still go ahead and do it. They probably told them the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to sour your relationship with Scarlett Johansson. And we all know Disney is Disney. She's going to be mad for a little while, and then she's going to come back and make another movie with them. She's already has one in the works. So that's just something that's going to happen. And now as far as should they have done this? That's up to them. I mean, if they have the right to do it, they have the right to do it. I mean, I'm not going to the movies no matter what. So for me to see this movie, it would have had to been seen at home. Because I mean, if right now, I couldn't have told you if the movie was good or bad if it was only in theaters. Would not have had. I would, as much as I love Killmonger, if they made a Killmonger standalone movie, well, maybe Killmonger might, but no. Even then, I'm not going to the movies to see a movie. I'm just not doing it. And a lot of people feel that same way. Yeah, and you have the Delta variant kicking off, and you have people talking. I know, Sharronda, you said Spider-Man is only supposed to go to the theaters. A lot of these movies or contracts are written that they're supposed to go only to the theaters. But if this pandemic keeps going in the direction that it's going, we don't know what's going to be moved over to streaming and what's going to be pushed back so that maybe it can go into the theaters a year or 2 years later. We don't know. We don't even know if we have Delta kick up like it's already been kicking up. We don't even know if the theaters are going to survive another surge, another outbreak.
I don't know why we're mentioning COVID. I don't know why we're mentioning COVID. If that's because Disney mentioned COVID, care about these people dying because they risking their people's lives to go to these damn Disney theme parks. So like, I don't understand why we're talking about who broke, who ain't got money, who could be sick. It's for the people that choose to go to theaters. At the end of the day, you could have held the movie until the pandemic was over, just like y'all pushed back several movies until the pandemic could possibly be over. But at the end of the day, she's not the only one who feels this way. And it doesn't matter if she was supposed to get more money and she's missing out and this is her last film in her contract. So it's not like she has other films to like call this a wash and be able to make it up on some other films. That's a problem.
Agreed.
I agree it's a problem.
They made money this whole time. They're not struggling.
I agree it's a problem.
Now,
I agree it's a problem. My point still remains is that I don't think that Disney did this recklessly. I think that if the contract, I bet you if you go through those contracts line by line, you will find that Disney has the legal authority to release these movies day and date, and they're going to find it. Disney is going to find it on the books
before we had COVID.
Right,
you don't know that. They were already doing Black Widow before the pandemic, so we don't.
I bet you right now, everybody who deals with Disney is making sure that they have clauses in those contracts that protect their artists from this happening moving forward. But I bet you all those contracts that were signed before this happened, right now those artists are shitting in their pants thinking, oh crap, this could happen to me because I signed a similar contract, and Disney has a way to get this onto Disney Plus Premiere without me having any legal recourse.
But that's the point. That's the point. Didn't try to renegotiate
She's going to lose.
She's going to lose. And they wouldn't do it.
She's going, and this is the reason why I've said in the comments, and when we've talked on our private thread, this is the reason why I've said that Disney should hire young and should hire dumb. You don't have to pay these people with all these back-end deals when you're not dealing with Scarlett Johansson. No one cares if you start hiring people to make Marvel movies, Thor, Spider-Man, all that. No one cares if you hire Scarlett Johansson. People show up for Thor and Black Panther and for Loki. They don't show up for Scarlett Johansson.
What does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with anything? Hiring somebody young, dumb, with an inexperience. Nobody's coming. My brother. I don't know.
I just explained. I'll explain it again. When you hire someone who's young and hungry, and they're young and dumb, as they say, and young and hungry, they're not asking for 5 points on the back end. They're asking for the job.
So basically, they're not asking for what they're worth.
Because at that time they're getting what they're worth. They're asking for the job. They're not asking for 5 points. She is not
asking for anything unreasonable, Larry.
Scarlett was above Marvel when she joined.
I know she was, and I agree with you.
She was getting paid $20 million a movie since Jump.
And I agree with you. Well, that was my whole point. That's why you don't hire Scarlett Johansson. That's why you don't hire Robert Downey Jr. That's why you don't hire these people. You find people young, new talent that can do these roles. When people show up,
that's a straw man argument. They don't got nothing to do with nothing. That does not have anything whether or not a contract was breached. Now have Elliot, I'm gonna get you in here, bro.
I'm just enjoying the content, man.
First of all, what I was trying to say earlier with the safety movie, I couldn't find the production budget on that. Okay, so Black Widow is $200 million production budget. We talked about this a billion times. The film had to make at least $600 million worldwide for the studios to feel it reached they made a respectable profit, not just a few dollars. That's not going to happen. It's not going to make any money. The reason why I brought up safety is let's just pretend that that's like a $10 million production budget. Make smaller movies like that and release that on Disney Plus so you can get your subscription up. Do that all day. You can make 20 of those movies compared to one Black Widow, and you're good. Okay, doing this $200 million plus on that's idiotic, and it needs to stop. And the proof is in the pudding with the box office. The second thing,
you hire young talent, you can cut your production budget closely to a half.
Okay, and my question,
because your $20 million Scarlett Johansson now is $2 million young actor no one's ever heard of.
A straw man argument that has nothing to do with this story. That is a hypothetical, sir. Now, my question to you is, and if you can give me a short answer, please, and I'll talk about Kevin Feige here in a second. If her contract was stipulated to say that she gets a percentage of the sales, and then a what is it? What do they call it? Like in insurance, like an act of God happens, like a pandemic, and they have to switch that, and they say, okay, we're going to give you the 20 million, or only going to pay you what's based off in theaters, but we're going to take all the profits from streaming. That is shady right there. You can't. The contract was off of sales, so let her get some of the sales off the Disney Plus streaming as well. It may not be the 50 million that she projected that she wanted her team, but you can't say, hey, you get all the sales, and it's assumed that that's going to be 100% of the box office, because that's how it's been since the beginning of Hollywood. And then you're like, no, it's like, you know what? Contract. It's like, you know what? Let's release it on Disney Plus. And we can just give Scarlett the profits from the theaters. We don't have to give her some of the stuff from Disney Plus. That's wrong, bro. How is that?
Not wrong. You guys are thinking like labor and not like management.
What are you talking about, Larry?
Think like management. You think like Disney. Think like a Disney executive. Think about how their responsibility is not to Scarlett Johansson. Their responsibility is to the shareholders. And their job is to make as much money as possible. And if they have contracts that are maybe advantageous to them and not to the artist, that's the artist's fault for signing that contract. She needs to go back to her agent and her lawyer over at CAA and ask them, why did you have me sign this onerous contract?
Why are you defending a $1 billion conglomerate?
I'm not defending them. I'm defending right and wrong. And Disney in this case is not in the wrong. They signed a contract, and for them to say we are going to hold you to your contract is not wrong.
So she should not get any profit of the Disney Plus money?
What I'm saying, no, Disney Plus didn't exist when she signed that contract.
That's the point.
And COVID didn't exist either. But COVID didn't exist either. So like, this does not matter. COVID didn't exist. Disney Plus.
Right, but I bet you, but I've seen how they
renegotiate her contract. You just proved my point.
But I have seen
been able to renegotiate, and they said.
But I've seen these types of contracts, and I know how they word them so that the companies protect themselves not just for today, but for all.
You can't say it doesn't matter because they didn't have Disney Plus when COVID also didn't exist.
The companies protect themselves for today and all time through perpetuity. And so I understand that there may not be Disney Plus today, but there could be Disney Plus tomorrow or 5 years from now. And my point is that when Disney did that, they also gave themselves the right to put it out on Disney Plus or Disney Premiere or Disney, anything else they want to call it, because they made sure that they protected themselves. If the artist didn't do that, that's on the artist.
Look, at the end of the day, we're just going to agree to disagree. At the end of the day, we have to see how this plays out, because this suit right here has larger implications for all studios. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are saying in the comment section that they should just settle. I don't think this is something that Disney can even settle on, because she is going to set precedent for what other talent is going to do after her. So I truly believe everybody in the studio is looking at how this case is going to go down, because at the end of the day, if they settle with Scarlett, everybody else is going to be coming right back behind her to get their money too. So I think it's something that's probably going to have to play out in court. And depending on how it goes, that's going to change how these movies are getting released, or it's going to change how people are going to be be negotiating their contracts going forward. That's just where we're at.
And Lainey, thank you so much for the super chat. Don't send me no more money. I don't want to take your lunch money. You know, you don't send like $8 or whatever. But thank you, man. I do appreciate it.
I think Sharronda's right. It's going to have to play out in the courts, and I think when it does, Disney is going to win, and these actors out there are going to be very salty, because they are going to realize that they are going to lose a crap ton of money moving forward. This is, if anything, what this is going to do is change the way that contracts in Hollywood are structured. Exactly. But those contracts that are currently in place, they are going to find that a lot of actors are going to lose a lot of money. Now, the only thing that's going to save some of that is that these studios want to have continuing relationships with these artists. And so if you screw over Tom Cruise or you screw over Will Smith, they may say, I'm just never going to work with you again. And because they want to work with them again, they may say, let's go ahead and figure this out. But they weren't. Disney obviously didn't feel like they needed to do that with Scarlett Johansson. So they didn't.
Larry, Disney has always had a crappy director with their producers, their directors. I remember it being reported back on Endgame how they abused Whedon, even though he wasn't, he's not a good person now, that we find out that they just been boss hogging everybody. with all these reports, I'm just kind of baffled. Like, why do you, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like, why do you assume that Disney wouldn't? I'm not saying that they did or didn't, but why are you in the assumption that they didn't breach the contract on purpose because they was a bit greedy and didn't want to pay Scarlett? You know, I'm just saying that they have a track record of not having good relationships with their talent. And so,
because I used to work for a big media company, and I can tell you that when you deal with those lawyers, they go through those contracts with a fine-tooth comb. They go through those things line by line, word by word. They do not make mistakes. So when someone comes to them and says, can we put this out on streaming? And they say, let us go through the contracts. And they come back in a couple weeks later and say, yes, you can. You'll be fine. You are on solid legal standing, solid legal footing. Then they do it because they know that even if a lawsuit is brought against them, that they're going to win. And so I don't believe that Disney went in this recklessly and just said, oh, let's just do it and see what happens later. No, they went in there knowing their contracts were in place with with themselves being protected as a company. And Scarlett Johansson, maybe as angry as she is and feeling like she's getting screwed as she is, doesn't have a leg to stand on. And she's going to find out when she gets into court.
Well, like we were saying earlier, I think what Sharronda was, I can't remember. Other actors are following suit. Emma Stone reportedly considering the same thing because she doesn't feel like she got her pay. Same thing with Gerard Butler. You know,
well, they owe him back pay. That's a little different. Yeah. They owe him back pay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess
that's just royalties. They just had. I mean, that happens a lot. You see that happen with people in the music side all the time. People are owed money. They just haven't been paid. They just need to get it.
Gotcha. Now, this is what scares me right here. Comicbook.com says Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige reportedly furious at Disney over the Black Widow release. Again, this article is down in the description box below as well. And Elliot, I definitely want your comments on this too. You don't want to piss off the Feigster, man. You just don't. You know, well, I got this. Where I got this quote at? It's no secret that Disney is releasing the films. Well, that's not it. Let me see. Feige is a company man and not prone to corporate showdowns or shouting matches. But I'm told he's angry and embarrassed. I don't know why he's embarrassed. Baloney newsletter reads in part. He lobbied Disney against a day-and-date plan for Black Widow, preferring the big screen exclusivity and not wanting to upset his talent. And then when the shit hit the fan, the movie started tanking and Johansson's team threatened litigation. He wanted Disney to make this right with her. Disney declined comment to Feige. Before I come to you, Elliot, I just have to say, guys, do not piss off Feige. This is like Ike Perlmutter Part 2, where he was frustrated with the execs, and then he went to Alan Horn and Bob Iger, and they was like, you don't got to worry about Perlmutter. You can report to us. And it seems like Bob Chapek is coming through, pissing people off. And I understand Kevin Feige is pissed because if he tries to bring in another writer, actor, director, or whatever, you know, hey, come on, make this film for me. It's going to be released this way. It's going to be released that way. They can come back and be like, nah, Kevin, I'm sorry, but you telling me it's going to be released in theaters, but your boy Bob Chapek may come through and boss hall and say it's going to go like this and breach a contract or something like that. So I really hope Kevin Feige doesn't walk. You know, with Warner Brothers Discovery, they, you know, under new leadership, they may be calling him like, hey, come over here to us and you can do whatever you want to do. Man. But anyway, how you feeling about Feige as well, you know, in this whole Scarlett Disney debacle?
Well, first off, Sharronda and Larry, you guys are awesome, and that's why I wasn't talking that way. I was just looking at these two great people, just having a great discussion. But nonetheless, to your point, man, Kevin Feige, DC. Let's make it happen, ladies and gentlemen. This James Gunn's already over there, already working on some other projects. And Kevin Feige, if you can do what you did with Marvel to the DC universe, that would be an awesome thing to see. But no, in regards to this comments here, him being embarrassed, I think it just goes back to what I was originally saying. Disney never had faith in the Black Widow film, which just kind of shows more proof in the pudding, as Sharronda was talking about earlier, with the whole, you know, Eternals going straight to theaters, Shang-Chi going straight to theaters. Obviously, Doctor Strange, obviously that's next year, but they really didn't have faith in her. And I think that's why Kevin Feige is just like, damn it, I already messed up, dropped the ball and not having a film 4 years ago. And now she's getting, you know, she's not getting her due rights for the payday. So I think he's embarrassed of himself. I think he's embarrassed of the company dropping the ball in the situation. And again, that door is wide open, Kevin. You could just step right through and just take over the DC universe and get a Superman sequel out before we get 19 other Superman and 15 other Batman. So we'll see what comes of this. But
now, when you say that they don't have faith in the Black Widow film, I just want to distinguish. Are you? I feel that I feel like Marvel has complete faith in it, and even like people at Disney, like maybe Alan Horn or something. But a few of the people, the new people coming in, Bob Chapek and them. I think those are the ones that don't have faith, and maybe that's what you're talking about. We got this other article right here that came out July 18th. Movie theater owners blame Marvel's Black Widow box office collapse on Disney Plus's launch. Also, I have this article right here from May. Disney's New World Order leads to confusion and bruised egos. I am blaming Bob Chapek for all of this. I think this is all of his fault. Even earlier this year, I made a video saying my way or the highway is Bob Chapek ruining, Disney and Marvel. But Sharronda, how you feeling about all this and Kevin Feige as well?
Well, I have a question now. How are you saying they didn't have faith when Black Widow is the only Marvel movie that went to Disney Plus and is going to Disney Plus this year? I mean, I think it's clear as day.
That's what I meant by that. Yeah.
I mean,
No. I'm saying all the.
It's also the only Disney Plus. It's only the Marvel movie this year. Also, I mean, it's saying it's the only Marvel movie that went to Disney Plus this year. It's only Marvel movie this year.
3 more Marvel movies that are coming out this year, going straight to theaters only.
No, I'm saying the Marvel. I'm saying the Marvel people have.
We don't know what they're going to do because we have this Delta variant.
But it
that's
doesn't
kicking
matter
back up.
right now. It was always said Black Widow was going to go to Disney Plus in theaters, but for their other movies, it has never been discussed Disney Plus. That clearly shows no faith.
No, what I'm saying is Kevin Feige has faith in Black Widow. It's the Disney execs that don't, is what I'm saying. The article said, Kevin Feige lied, but like, no, do not put this on streaming. Only put it in theaters. Everybody at Marvel was like, put this on streaming. It was the higher ups. This
is another viewpoint that I will want people to see. Okay, so when you're an actor, your box office matters because that's how you command your next paycheck. So when you say this person has grossed, their box office has grossed this much money, you can ask for what you want. So if you really sit and think about it, for a lot of these actors, because at the end of the day, Scarlett had the money to command $20 million as soon as she came into the MCU. So based on accolades, what other movies, critical acclaim, all of that determines like what you ask every year. This is just their standard rate. If Scarlett went to go do a random movie, she's getting paid $20 million because that is just her typical salary. That's her asking price. So if you're losing money on your overall box office, why would you continue to work with Disney? Because to be honest, when these actors sign on for these contracts, they lose out on a lot of other roles that they could be doing because the Marvel films are physically demanding. They have to get in shape for these films, and it takes a lot of time to shoot these films as well. So if I'm giving up money and time doing one movie a year, that's typically what they do, depending on how many they're in, it wouldn't make sense for people to continue to sign on to these blockbuster Marvel films if they're not going to get all of their money. That just doesn't make sense.
You're exactly. But this is just now happening. So my understanding, like again, Marvel and Disney are two different companies. Disney owns them, of course, but all the Marvel people are the good guys.
But it's the thing is, this is bigger than it just being Marvel, and it's bigger than it just being Disney. Because this is something that we're seeing. It's the same thing that we're seeing with Warner Brothers titles as well. These people, at the end of the day, is losing out on their money.
My point is, it hasn't always been perfect, but when Kevin Feige finally got all the power that he does now, before Chapek came through, everything was operating, on the surface as a well-oiled machine. There was no problems. Kevin Feige got along with his talent. Talent got along with Kevin Feige. They're making movies. Nothing is perfect, but nothing like this. But when Bob Chapek came in,
casting a white woman and Doctor Strange,
bro. Well, he admitted that. I didn't say everything was perfect, but this is what I'm saying. Like going back to this article in May. The New World Order, like when Bob Chapek came in, he jacked everything up. Elia, you was on the panel when we talked about this. Both of y'all, so this is all of Chapek's fault. is what I'm saying. And I'm not saying that the people at Marvel are just perfect angels. I'm not trying to say Kevin Feige is a perfect angel. I think they have good intent, but it's just this Chapek guy that's coming through jacking everything up. Larry, you got anything, man?
I don't want to call it a fault. I think the guy has a different different sort of vibe to himself. He's creating a different culture in the upper echelon of Disney's executives, and he plans to run the company a little bit different than Bob Iger did, and that's fine. They brought him in to run it in a different way. Whether it's because they felt Disney stalled out or whatever it was, they brought him in to run this in a different way, and that's what he's doing. And I think that, yeah, some people, there are going to be some actors that are going to have their egos bruised and hurt when they realize, I thought you guys had my back. I thought we were going straight to theaters forever. I thought you didn't care about the people, the public, and you didn't care if they died from COVID if they went to the theaters. And now you're telling me you do, and you want to go to premiere, and you want to build Disney Plus. And now I'm upset because my contract isn't structured in a way that's going to help me and not, and it's only helping you. Well, guess what? That's what's going to happen. And in the future, when these attorneys are dealing, when all these Harvard and Yale law grads that are up there working at CAA are dealing with these new Disney contracts, they're going to structure them differently. They're not going to have the same sort of contracts. But move right now, there's going to be some people out there that are a little bit butthurt. And yeah, I understand that Kevin Feige is a little upset with the Disney execs because he's partly because, he's a businessman as well, but he's also a creative. I would put him more in the realm of the creative executive producer than I would the business executive producer. And so he wants to make sure he looks out for his talent. And his talent, and right now he's thinking, damn, this embarrasses me a little bit. I brought these people in, I promised them big numbers and blah, blah, blah. And now I can't deliver on that. And Disney's like, look, we're contractually sound. So we're good. As far as we're concerned, we're adhering to our contracts. We're good.
My brother, that is an assumption. And I was going to say, this is what he's doing.
All of this is assumption because none of us have inside information to know exactly what's going on.
These numbers are not assumption. This is objective. This is wrong. This is crap.
See the numbers. We know the numbers aren't that great. They were, even if you took all the streaming numbers and put them in there, the numbers still weren't going to be that great.
So, and that's Bob Chapek's fault. Is my point. Him coming, everything was working. Everything was working fine, and he wants to come in and change the whole thing. And films are losing money. He didn't
change the whole thing. All he did was decide that they were going to go day and date.
And that
changed everything.
And that destroyed everything.
Come on, B. You know that,
bro. The number is right there. They lost hundreds of millions of dollars. How's that not destroying?
They did not lose hundreds of millions of dollars by sending it to streaming.
Larry, look at the numbers, bro.
You're discounting the fact. B. Here's the thing.
Larry, wait a minute. Hold on. I love you, my brother. I love you. Subjective is an opinion, okay? But objectively, the film lost hundreds of millions of dollars. How did it not? I'll
tell you why. First of all, let's just be real. The film broke even at least. It made money. It made enough. Hold on. It just hasn't made enough. The budget on that film was $200 million.
Okay.
It has made back the money that it needed to make for Disney not to take an L on that movie. It has made some money.
Please explain that, bro. Please explain that.
I'll push back a little bit, Larry, because they had 3 marketing pushes for that film. They lost a lot of money, man.
Okay, let's say they lost the money. Let's just say they lost the money. Fine, tax write-off, done. So let's say they lost money on that movie.
So now it's okay we lost hundreds of millions. Let's just do a tax write-off. That's great leadership.
No, that's not great leadership. But he can also very easily say this wasn't made under my leadership because it was not. This movie was made under somebody else's leadership. He could have very easily said, if this movie were made under my leadership, these deals would have never been structured this way. This film would have never cost $200 million. He could have made all kind. He could say whatever he wants to say. That's one of the beauties of being able to.
Now you're complaining about how much the production.
That's one of the beauties about being able to say this, when you come in and you take leadership. That's one of the beauties about being able to come in as someone new is to say, I wouldn't have done it that way. And mistakes can be attached to the previous leader.
You wouldn't have done it.
It's very easy to do that.
Larry, they made 23 films averaging nearly $1 billion a film. 90. So? If I do them, so what? Come on,
we
bro.
weren't in a pandemic either.
What?
They didn't have the vast majority of theaters closed. They didn't have theaters with reduced capacity. They didn't have all of that going on.
So no, bro.
You're discounting all of that and just putting all of the burden on streaming, and that's just simply not realistic.
You are reaching. You just said that, well, maybe a CEO would have came in doing something different and not making films for $200 million plus. There is nothing wrong with that because it works. That has always worked.
It worked under the previous model. It worked under the previous model.
Not for 5 films, not for 10.
It worked under the previous model. When you have theaters open, when you have theaters open nationwide and you can have 100% capacity, it works.
You know what? I'm averaging $960 million per film. I don't want to do that anymore. Let's just change it up. Why would you do that?
That's not what I'm saying. You're hearing what you want to hear, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm telling you one thing, and you're hearing something else.
Larry, did you not just say that if Bob Chapek came in, he probably would not have made the films in the same structure, making $200 million plus films?
No, that's not what I said. That is not what I said.
Okay, what did you say, sir?
What I said is that he could have come in and said that I would not have structured this deal like this, that it would have cost maybe less. What I'm saying is that when you have theaters that are not fully open and the theaters that are open are not at capacity, you have to structure your deals differently to accommodate that varying situation. We're not in the same situation now that we were in 2017 or 18 or whenever this deal was signed. And so Bob Chapek may say, look, I understand why the contract was signed back then. This is not the current situation we're in. We're not making deals like this moving forward because the theatrical exhibition side of the business is changed. It is different. Moving forward, it's going to be different. So we're not going to have these same types of deals. Maybe they don't give as many artists participation. Maybe they don't give them the same level of participation. Maybe they don't give them any participation. I don't know.
So why not let her renegotiate?
That's the thing that new CEOs do is they bring in new leadership and they make new decisions.
Why is it so hard to admit that his plan was an epic failure?
Because it wasn't. Work.
How, Larry? How, bro? I mean, Sharronda and Elliot, if y'all gotta go, because we at the 2-hour mark, I understand.
Well,
I'm gonna argue this point to the morning.
But I'm just trying to understand, like, why are we using the same thing with COVID happening to defend the CEO and not allow the same thing to defend Scarlett? I guess that's what I'm just confused about, because someone made a good point in this. At the end of the day, whether Black Widow is a good film or not, and I saw a lot of people in the comments like, y'all caping for a white woman. It's really honestly not even about Scarlett Johansson at the end of the day. It's just the fact that at the end of the day, all of these movies were making close to $1 billion. And to be honest, whether you guys want to admit it or not, whether Black Widow is a good movie or not a good movie, it still had the chance to make $1 billion.
Agree.
Shitted on Captain Marvel left and right, and it still made $1 billion. So
has any movie made $1 billion since COVID?
No.
But that's our point.
Because there's not even enough screens to put it on to make $1 billion.
But that's the whole point of Scarlett trying to renegotiate her contract. This movie was every movie coming out in COVID is going to take a loss. Every movie coming out is going to be at a loss. Every single movie.
And Disney basically said, no, we have our contract signed. Our contracts protect us. And so there's no need for us to renegotiate. And now people are upset saying, well, you guys are not treating her fairly. And they're saying, look, we negotiated in good faith. She signed the contract. We signed the contract.
Larry, I get what you're saying. But I get what you're saying. But the issue now is you can't use COVID as a way to defend Disney and not allow Scarlett the same grace to use COVID as to why she took a loss on this movie, because everyone is taking a loss. These movies are showing on less screens. You have to show other movies are taking hits too, because when you have a Fast and the Furious, remember all the other movies complain that every theater is only playing Fast and Furious. There's a lot of things that come into play with this. So at the end of the day, you trying to back Disney and protect them, this same argument can be applied to Scarlett. That's all I'm saying. I get what you're saying, But this same argument that you just gave to defend the CEO, it literally is the same argument that Scarlett can use. And at the end of the day, she asked to renegotiate given the current state that we're in with the pandemic, and they told her no. And that is the problem. She tried to work this out. She tried.
I don't think it's a problem at all.
And they said no, they will not let her renegotiate.
Because I don't think that's a problem at all, Sharronda. I think these companies, when they put the language in there that speaks for, when they say through all conditions for today, through current media and platforms known and unknown, through all opportunities, they are making sure that their interests are protected. And if you don't have the foresight to say, well, let me put language in there that protects me in case theaters are closed, I can guarantee you, since the pandemic, actors who have signed contracts have put language in those contracts that protect them in the event of an act of God, a pandemic, whatever causes theaters to be closed.
But you still have to give those who made contracts when COVID was not even a real thing, when we didn't know what COVID was. We didn't know.
Why do we have to protect
your
them?
argument? But you want your argument both ways. And if I'm going to side with you, you need to side with Scarlett then. Like,
it's not I'm not being two-faced in the argument. What I'm simply saying is that What I'm saying is that Disney protected themselves and Scarlett Johansson didn't. There's no need for Disney to renegotiate.
How do you protect herself if they did not want to renegotiate? She tried to protect herself. She didn't know COVID was happening when she made the deal.
So you're saying that Disney should not protect itself and its shareholders, and instead what it should do is look out for the interest of her?
No one said that Disney didn't have the right. Everyone has the right to protect themselves, but just as Disney has the right to protect himself in the suit, Scarlett has the right to protect herself and making sure that she gets the money that she was supposed to get. You cannot have without the other. If we gonna cape for Disney, then you got to cape for Scarlett, because they both.
I'm not caking for Disney. I'm not caking for Disney. I'm caking for contracts. If you sign a contract and the contract is adhered to, that's what I'm saying, is that if she should have gotten the money, then they should give her the money. But what I'm simply saying is that I am almost willing to bet money on the fact that Disney did not go and do this without making sure that their contracts were airtight, allowing them to do it. And so if she signed a contract that was not advantageous for her under the current conditions, that's not Disney's fault.
But she didn't make that. She did not sign the contract under these current COVID conditions.
And you know why, Larry? I can't give that argument to Disney, because I mean, I'm not trying to cape for Robert Downey Jr., but they didn't want to pay him his money for Avengers 1. They had a horrible because he got a horrible relationship, because he was like, no, I don't want that much money up front. I want the back end points. That's why he got 75 million. They did not want to pay him the money, even though that's what the contract stated. And because that's what the contract stated, that's how he got all that money. And they was butthurt mad at that. So Disney has always been doing shady stuff. And this 343 right here, bro, you know that a third of that goes to the theater/theater owners. And so that's 114 million right there. What's 343 minus 14 million? That's 229. 229. So
and that's why they should. So then that's exactly why they should hire young actors and send stuff straight to streaming, so they don't even deal with the theater.
Minus 200. So they got $29 million left. How much was the marketing budget, you think, Elliot, for this film? At least $200 million.
Yeah,
because they had 2 marketing campaigns. So let's do that right there. That's $171 million loss right there.
So let me ask you this.
That's a loss. That's a wait. Is that not a failure? Can you acknowledge my math, please?
Okay, let's say it is a failure.
No, don't shrug your shoulders. Because earlier you said.
What do you want me to do? You want me to bow down and prostrate myself? I'm telling you, it's a failure. It's a failure.
Okay, thank you.
So it's a failure. So then this goes to further my argument that they should simply hire young actors and they should strip the theatrical experience overall and go straight to streaming, because when you go straight to streaming, you don't need to earn as much money to make a profit, because you don't have to share any of the profits. You get everything. So you don't need to worry about making $1 billion to make your money. You only have to make a couple $100 million. And that's easy to do when you're putting out the next Black Panther on streaming.
So now you want to just throw away the whole.
But even with him saying,
I've been wanting to throw the theaters away.
Even after saying hire younger actors, at the end of the day, you're still going to be in the same position that Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth were in when they made more money. I mean, Scarlett was getting paid $20 million. What did Chris only making $7 million? As like, Captain America when he first started,
he got 100. He got 150.
I think it was like 300,000 or something.
Yeah, he got like 300,000 when he started.
Yeah, right. So at the end of the day, even if they do hire younger people who are unknown talent, like I've been saying since day one, anyway, to hire unknown talent and let them be stars, they're still going to come upon a time. They're big now. Their contract is up. They're going to negotiate all the stuff that Scarlett hasn't negotiated.
In 10 years, in 10 years, when you
position.
In 10 years, you lock them into a 5-movie contract. You pay them $1 million a movie. Lock them into a 5-year contract. You get somebody who's young and hungry, who $5 million, $2 million looks like a ton of money, and they say, "Hell yeah, I want to do that." And they do it. And then in 10 years, when you're done with those 5 movies, then you renegotiate or you find new young actors.
But but it doesn't matter because at that point, they're stars now and people are used to them playing that character. So you're not going to be able to do that. If anything, Disney put themselves in this predicament. I hope that they continue to take unknown actors. I feel like DC has done a better job at this as taking unknown actors, making them money. And then later they become stars and they can pay them what they want because they were greedy and they made money off the first couple of films.